Illinois and Standard Bank Stadium, where the University of St. Francis gets set to take on St. Xavier University in another CCAC matchup, Game 3 of this three-game series. Two teams split a doubleheader yesterday, so the rubber match is today, and I am Terry Bonadonna on the call to bring you the action in today's game. Let's take a look at the starting lineups as the Saints take the field and begin their warm-ups. We'll start with the visitors from St. Xavier. Leading off and playing left field, Griffin Bright. Garrett Bright bats second at second base. Matt Monahan is the third baseman. Hitting cleanup is the designated hitter Jack Gaynor. Batting fifth, catcher Matt Bunetta. Ben Zordani is at first base. In right field, Cameron Powell hits seventh. Batting eighth is the shortstop Agustin Guerrero. And hitting ninth, center fielder Dre Devereaux. Starting pitcher for the Cougars today is number 51, Logan D'Amato, freshman right-hander. For the Fighting Saints, it's Travis Schoonover in the leadoff spot playing right field. Batting second, left fielder Sean Harper. Pat Mahalik hits third in center field. Kevin Mampy is the day's shortstop. Anthony Farron hits fifth and plays first. Hitting sixth, third baseman Mike Quirum. Kevin Rada is behind the plate. John Peterson bats eighth and plays second base. And hitting ninth, today's starting pitcher, right-hander John Reardon. On for the 11th time this year, 3 of his first 10 starts have gone the distance. He is 3-4 with a .472 ERA. In 61 innings, he's allowed 37 runs, 32 of them earned on 66 hits. He's walked 23, struck out 54, and allowed opponents to hit .269 against him this season. Saints come into today's game with a record of 19-24. The Cougars come into today's game with a record of 19-24. So both teams trying to get ahead in this one as John Reardon sets himself for the first pitch of the game. It is high for a ball, and we're underway. It is 10:57 a.m. Central Daylight Time. 1-0 the count on the leadoff batter, Griffin Bright. And Bright takes a strike for a strike of the game. Count is even. John Reardon is third on the team in innings pitched this year at 61, but assuming he doesn't get knocked out early today, he will take the team lead in that category. Breaking ball high and tight, 2-1. He's just 2 1/3 innings behind Michael Quirum, who took the team lead in innings pitched yesterday by throwing 11. Pitched 11 innings in a game that the Saints were able to win in 12. Strike at the knees, the count is even, 2-2. Reardon, an infielder on the days that he doesn't pitch, is a junior from St. Lawrence High School. Ground ball left side, playable for the shortstop, gloved on a couple of hops by Mampy. He throws to first, and Bright is retired. 1 up, 1 down, and a strong start for John Reardon. Cougars come into today's game just ahead of the Saints in the conference standings, 14-9 to 13-10. So these teams are about as even as they come. They have the same overall record, separated by just 1 game in the conference standings, and yesterday they split a doubleheader. First pitch to Bright is popped up foul and out of play to the right side. This is Garrett Bright now. Griffin led things off. His older brother Garrett bats in the number 2 spot. Garrett's a junior from Crystal Lake South High School. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ball outside, 1-1. Beautiful day on the south side of Chicago today as we approach 11 o'clock, the scheduled start time for today's game. We got going just a couple of minutes early this evening. Here's the 1-1. Ball low, 2-1. Temperature showing on the scoreboard right now is 67 degrees. I think that might be influenced a little bit by the very sunny weather we have today. A few wispy white clouds in the sky, but nothing more than that. Fouled away, 2-2. Temperature more likely in the upper 50s right now, but with sunny skies and a gentle breeze, it is a picture-perfect day for a baseball game. So the Saints try to pick up their second straight win over the Cougars. Ball 3 and the count is full. St. Francis victorious in extra innings yesterday. They have loaded up on extra inning contests lately. I'm sure they'd be happy to finish today's in just 9 innings, provided they're on top. Ball inside and it hit him. Garrett Bright hit by the pitch on the upper arm, and he takes first base. First base runner for St. Xavier with one out in the top of the first. On a 3-2 pitch, John Reardon plunks Garrett Bright, and that brings Matt Monahan to the plate. It's the 12th batter that Reardon has hit this season. The rest of the team combined has hit 21. So far and away, Reardon is the team leader in that category. He has been a little bit wild at times. Monahan takes ball one. He's been a little bit wild to begin today's game. That's the 7th ball he's thrown compared to 5 strikes among his 12 first inning pitches. Just 23 walks in 61 innings, so it hasn't been terrible in that regard, but when he's been wild, he's been wild. 12 hit batters. He's also thrown 6 wild pitches on the season. Ball high on Monahan, 2-0. Matt Monahan, the number 3 hitter for St. Xavier, starting third baseman. Just a sophomore of Lincoln Way West High School. St. Xavier head coach Rocco Masudo has got a pretty young team that he's working with here as that ball is fouled back, and the count is now 2-1. Monahan hitting .358. He's got 11 extra base hits, including 10 doubles, 27 RBIs. The man on deck is the very dangerous hitter, Jack Gaynor. And for this very young team, Gaynor, the star hitter on deck, is just a freshman. Monahan swings through that pitch. The count is 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. We have no score. There's a man at first base in the top of the first inning. Reardon gets the sign in from Kevin Rada. Right-hander sets and delivers. It's high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. He's gone full on 2 of the first 3 hitters. And he has thrown more balls than he has strikes here in this first inning, but no real danger yet with a man at first base and 1 out. Trying to put away Monahan, the payoff pitch. Misses up and away, ball 4. So Reardon has started today's game off very wild. Garrett Bright advances to second base. Monahan takes first. Reardon will try to settle in against a tough task, Jack Gaynor. Gaynor's a .389 batter. He's got 8 home runs, 33 RBIs. Enters today's game slugging .679 for the season. Tough out here with a man in scoring position, 2 men on base total. Reardon's first pitch to Gaynor is high in the zone for strike 1. That's a huge first pitch strike. He has struggled to get ahead of hitters here in the first inning. 10 balls, 8 strikes, and a long first inning for Reardon. And there's the 11th ball compared to 8 strikes, low and inside on the sweeper. Count is 1-1. St. Xavier wearing black jersey tops with white and red trimming. Gray pants as the visiting team. Saints in all white with brown caps. Strike over the outside corner, 1-2. Reardon is ahead of Jack Gaynor. Big advantage here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gaynor has struck out just 26 times this season in 131 at bats. But Reardon trying to put him away here. The 1-2. Over the outside corner for a called third strike. 2 down and a huge strikeout for John Reardon. Gaynor was displeased with the call, thought it was outside. Kevin Rada, nice frame job there to pull it over the corner. First strikeout for Reardon, number 55 for the season. 2 outs in the top of the first. St. Xavier still threatening despite a lack of hits here in the first inning. They've got men at first and second base thanks to a hit batter and a walk. And now it's up to the catcher, Matt Bunetta, to try to get at least one of these runs in. Bunetta, right-handed hitter. Reardon, a right-handed tosser. The first pitch over for a strike. Bunetta hitting .289 and 83 at-bats this season. He's got 24 hits, 6 of them doubles. He's driven in 9 runs. Reardon finally seems to be straightening things out, throwing more strikes to the last couple of hitters. He's ahead of Bunetta 0-1. And now the count is even as that breaking ball misses low and away. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Matt Bunetta is a sophomore from Plainfield, Illinois. Typical starting catcher for Rocco Masudo's St. Xavier Cougars. 14-9 on the conference season. Fouled away. Cougars are down to their final strike of the inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Bunetta. Ben Zordani waits on deck, hoping for a chance. With Monahan at first base, Garrett Bright at second. Reardon is 1 strike away from ending the top half of the first. Bunetta steps out of the box and now digs back in. Tapping the plate a couple of times with his bat. Reardon stares in at the catcher, Rada. He's set. Now the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Got him to chase the high fastball, and the inning is over. Reardon gets himself into some trouble in the first inning with a walk and a hit batter. But he buckles down. He strikes out 2 in a row and ends the top half of the first scoreless. We'll head to the bottom of the frame. St. Francis coming to bat for the first time. St. Francis coming to bat for the first time here in the bottom of the first inning. Travis Schoonover, Sean Harper, Pat Mahalik due up. Mampy, Farron, Quirum, Rada, Peterson, and Reardon all hope to take swings in what would be a very big first inning. And they're facing St. Xavier's starting pitcher Logan D'Amato, making just his 3rd start of the year, more often used as a reliever. 12 appearances out of the bullpen this year. He's 1-2 with that 6.75 ERA. 25 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 24 runs, 19 of them earned on 36 hits, 18 strikeouts to 12 walks. And his first pitch to Travis Schoonover is knocked out of play behind home plate for strike 1. Schoonover, the leading hitter on the Saints roster this year, hitting .337. Sophomore outfielder is tied for the team lead with 6 home runs. And he's 4th on the ball club with 30 runs batted in. He swings and ropes it into the right center field gap. Down for a hit for Schoonover. Cameron Powell over to cut it off quickly and holds Schoonover to a single. Nicely done by Powell out in right field. But Schoonover is aboard. Good speed on the base paths for St. Francis and a strong start to today's game. John Reardon had some trouble in the top half of the first. Put a couple of base runners on for free, but pitched out of it, did not allow any hits, and therefore did not allow any runs. And now St. Francis is trying to get on the board first. A solid single for Schoonover sets up Sean Harper's first at bat of the game. Harper, the left fielder for the Saints today, takes ball 1 high. He was squaring to bunt on that first pitch. Did not offer it as it missed the zone completely. But it looks like he's going to try to drop down a sacrifice here. 9 of them on the season. So he has been a successful bunter. He takes a ball outside. The count is 2-0. Harper this year, .262 hitter, 9 runs batted in. He's got 4 extra base hits, none of them homers. And he was not bunting on the second pitch. And now a good hitter's count at 2-0. Harper might be able to let one rip here as D'Amato sets and delivers high for ball 3. 12 walks this season issued by Logan D'Amato. That has come in just 25 1/3 innings pitched. So he has not been the image of control this season. We'll see if the Saints are able to wait him out in this game. Ball 4 outside. Harper taking that one all the way. D'Amato thought that maybe he grazed the outside corner there, but he did not get the call. And and so Harper takes first base. Schoonover on over to second, and now good speed on both bases, as first and second are filled with nobody out for Pat Mahalik. Early trouble for Logan D'Amato. John Reardon faced similar trouble in the top of the first inning. He was able to get out of it. This time, though, for the Saints, it's with nobody out. Pat Mahalik in the batter's box. D'Amato has missed the strike zone on 4 consecutive pitches. So it'll be interesting to see what Brian Mahalik's plan is for Pat Mahalik, who does have 6 sacrifice bunts this year. But after a 4-pitch walk, I'd be surprised if I saw Pat Mahalik square up on the first pitch here from D'Amato. Tall right-hander. Pitching from the stretch on the first base side of the rubber. Glances at the runner at second, delivers. Mahalik does bunt. Up in the air, foul. Strike 1. I'm a little surprised to see Mahalik dropping one down so early in the count here after D'Amato has not been around the strike zone early in the game. But Mahalik is a good bunter against 6 sacrifices, a .272 hitter with 27 RBIs this year. He's got 3 home runs as well. Looking to advance the runners here. Ben Zordani at first, Matt Monahan at third. The corner infielders creeping in with the pitch from D'Amato. We saw Harper square up on the first pitch and then did not the rest of the at-bat. Let's see if this is any different from Mahalik. No, he squares on strike 1, count 2, but pulls the bat back and takes a ball high and in. It's even, 1-1. No score. We're early in this game. We saw a great pitcher's duel yesterday at St. Xavier between these two teams. One. Mahalik pushes the bunt down the third base line. It kicks foul. And now he's behind in the count 1-2. Actually, there were 2 games at St. Xavier between these teams yesterday. One of them was a great pitcher's duel. That was the second game. Game 1 was quite good offensively, a 9-7 loss for St. Francis. Snapped a 4-game losing streak for St. Xavier, but another one started in game 2. Saints trying to turn it into a true streak. By winning this one, it would be their 2nd straight. 1-2. Mahalik still bunting, pulls the bat back and takes the ball off the outside corner. 2-2. Last couple of batters for St. Francis have been trying to give themselves up. Logan D'Amato is not giving the outs away easily, though. He walked Harper on 4 pitches. Now it's 2-2 on Mahalik. He was still looking to bunt on the last 2-strike pitch. Left-handed hitting center fielder, chokes up on the bat. D'Amato gets into the set position and delivers. This time Mahalik not bunting. He strikes out swinging, going through the high fastball. A big first out for Logan D'Amato as Mahalik is unable to get the runners over. 1 away in the first inning, and the batter is Kevin Mampy. Mampy is a .329 hitter. He leads the team with his .553 slugging percentage and 34 RBIs. 12 doubles, 6 home runs, both team highs. Mampy takes a ball low. Kevin Mampy, senior infielder / pitcher, has not had his best season on the mound this year. ERA much higher than it has been the last couple of years, but he has been reliable at the plate, trying to drive in a couple of runs right here. They're at first and second with 1 down, and Mampy takes high. Count is 2 balls and no strikes. Bottom of the first inning and scoreless despite a load of first inning base runners, 2 for each team. Nobody in just yet, though. D'Amato gets the sign in from the catcher Bonetta. Steps off the rubber and they'll go through the signs again. Now he's set for the 2-0. Mampy takes a ball in the dirt, 3-0. Talked about John Reardon having some trouble throwing strikes in the top of the first inning. It's been no different for D'Amato here in the bottom of the frame. 9 balls thrown, just 5 strikes. 3 of those strikes, though, were to Pat Mahalik, who went down swinging. Big out for D'Amato, but has not had the same success against Kevin Mampy. He misses high, ball 4. Second walk of the inning. Both of them have come on just 4 pitches. And now a serious RBI chance for Tony Farron. Farron's hitting .285 with 9 doubles and 31 RBIs on the year. And he bats with the bases loaded and only 1 out. Mampy at first, he walked. Harper at second, he walked. Both of them without seeing a single strike from D'Amato. Travis Schoonover led off the inning with a sharp single to right center. He's at third base right now. Farron swinging for the fences on the first pitch. Can't connect. It's strike 1. Cougars were not able to score despite a couple of base runners in the top of the first. Saints do not want to waste their opportunity. Bases full, only 1 down. Righty versus righty. Here comes the 0-1. Ground ball to short, picked up cleanly by Guerrero, flips to second for 1. The relay throw is in time, and the inning is over on a 6-4-3 double play. Saints load the bases on a hit and a couple of walks, but nothing to show for it. We'll head to the second inning. Both teams leave a couple of men on base. We're still scoreless. It's Ben Zordani batting first in the top of the second for the St. Xavier Cougars. No score after an eventful first inning. Eventful, but no runs scored. Saints had the bases loaded with 1 out before a double play got them out of the inning. St. Xavier had 2 runners on base with 1 out in the first, but back-to-back strikeouts did them in. Ben Zordani takes strike 1. We're underway in the second. Zordani, the starting first baseman for the Cougars today, hitting .299 for the year. He's got 21 runs batted in. He swings on the 0-1 pitch and pops it up sky high on the infield. Kevin Mampy, the shortstop, makes the call for it. Mampy makes the grab, and there's the first out. 3 straight set down by John Reardon after walking back-to-back batters in the first inning, actually walking 1 and hitting 1. He's got 2 strikeouts and a pop-up since then. 6 batters into the game for St. Xavier. They haven't hit it out of the infield yet. Here's Powell. Ball 1 high to Cameron Powell, starting right fielder. Powell's hitting .282. He's got 3 homers, 28 runs batted in. He swings and bloops it to the right side, shallow, and it'll drop for a base hit. Travis Schoonover plays it on a hop, and Powell has the first hit of the game for St. Xavier. Not a strong hit, but they'll take it. Just blooped it up over the right side of the infield. John Peterson chasing it back from second base. Couldn't make the grab. Too far out for him, and as Schoonover came racing in, he realized fairly early that he wasn't going to be able to play it on the fly and made the smart move of pulling up and making sure it didn't get by him on the bounce. So 1 out base runner for St. Xavier, a bloop single for Powell, and here's Agustin Guerrero. Ball 1 high. Guerrero, the shortstop, hitting .291, right on target with the rest of the team. He's got a homer and 22 RBIs. St. Xavier came in with a .292 team batting average. Popped up foul to the left side, out of play. Count is 1-1. St. Xavier entered play today with a .292 team batting average, averaging nearly 6 runs per game. So pretty solid offensive attack this year. Strike call over the outside corner. Guerrero behind now, 1-2. St. Francis hitting .281 as a team. They have scored exactly 1 run fewer than St. Xavier has scored this year in the exact same amount of games. Ball outside. That evens it up, 2-2. Dre Devereaux waits in the on-deck circle. 1 out, 1 on in the top of the second inning. St. Francis and St. Xavier doing battle for the final time this regular season. Two teams very possibly could meet, though, in the conference tournament. Set to begin in just a couple of weeks now. There's a high fly ball in the shallow right. In fact, it'll stay on the infield. Peterson comes in on it. The second baseman makes the catch. Second infield pop of the inning. Guerrero is retired, 2 down, and the batter now the number 9 hitter, Dre Devereaux. Devereaux, a light hitting outfielder, batting just 174 this year. He's got a .240 on base percentage. He's driven in 9 runs for the season. Right-handed batter, stands right on top of the plate. John Reardon, the right-handed pitcher, sets for the first pitch. It's a strike. Powell at first after a bloop single to right field. 2 outs, no score in the top of the second. There's a ball low, and the count evens up, 1-1. Fighting Saints entered play today 7th in the conference standings, but just 1 game behind St. Xavier, so they could surpass them with a win today. Just 2.5 games out of the 3 spot in the conference. Everybody is bunched together. Should make for a very interesting conference tournament. 1-1. Swung on and hit in the air on the infield. Reardon, the pitcher, is called off, and in comes the third baseman, Mike Queeram, to make the grab. Inning over. 3 infield pop-ups against Reardon in the second inning, and he pitches around a 1-out single from Cameron Powell, who's stranded at first. We go to the bottom of the second. Saints nothing, Cougars nothing. No score in the bottom of the second inning. Michael Queeram, the first batter for St. Francis here. He'll be followed by Rada and Peterson. Facing Logan D'Amato, who struggled in the first inning for St. Xavier, but got out of it with a big double play. Queeram had a big day yesterday against St. Xavier's. He takes strike 1 here. In game 2, in particular, that doubleheader, he had a pair of hits at the plate and pitched 11 innings in the win on the mound. .333 hitter overall this year. 6 doubles and a triple to his resume. He checks his swing and takes the ball downstairs, 1-1. D'Amato has not been able to get ahead of a lot of guys in today's game. He was successful with the first pitch strike to Quirum, as the count now evens up at 1. Right-hander takes a deep breath and winds for the delivery. Outside, 2-1. Issued 2 walks in that first inning. Overall, he threw 10 balls and only 7 strikes. For the game now, 12 and 8 among his first 20 pitches. There's his 13th ball thrown today. 3 straight misses on Quirum. It's 3-1. D'Amato came into today's game with just about a walk per every 2 innings. Today, so far, it's the reverse of that. 2 walks in 1 inning. 3-1. Fly ball out to center field. Well hit, but playable for Dre Devereaux, who backs up and makes the grab. 1 away. So despite falling behind 3-1, D'Amato does come back to get the leadoff man on the fly out. Brings up the catcher, Kevin Rada. One of a pair of Kevins in the starting lineup for St. Francis. Rada hitting .303. He's got 9 doubles, 5 home runs. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. Looking at his stats just now, there's something that really struck out or stood out to me. He's got 142 at-bats this year, 43 hits, and he has scored only 9 runs. It's the life of a catcher. Swing and a miss. He chased one in the dirt, then it's 0-2. Life of a collegiate catcher anyway. He can get on base a lot, and he does. .361 on base percentage, but oftentimes when he gets on, he is removed for a courtesy runner. So despite all those times on base, he very seldom actually gets to cross home plate. The 0-2. Ball 1, and Rada stays alive. Rada does have 5 homers this year, so he pulls himself across the plate every now and then. D'Amato trying to put him away. The 1-2. High for a ball. 2-2. Identical lines on the scoreboard right now. No runs, 1 hit, no error. But despite that, a lot of base runners early on. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and a fair amount of strikeouts as well. Dug out of the dirt by Bunetta, who throws it down to first and has the out. Strikeout, 2-3 on the putout officially. 2 down, that's the second strikeout for D'Amato. Reardon's got 2 of them early as well. And here's John Peterson with 2 outs and nobody on, trying to extend the inning. Peterson bats right-handed. First pitch from Logan D'Amato. High for ball 1. John Peterson is a .222 hitter. 6 RBIs for the year. Doesn't get a ton of playing time, but with a number of the pitchers on the staff doubling as infielders, he does get in there when one of them is on the mound as Peterson takes a ball. It's 2-0. Today's case is John Reardon, who would probably be starting at second, but instead is pitching. Kevin Mampy is starting at short today, Michael Quirum at third, and both of them are pitchers as well. Slapped up the middle, a base hit. John Peterson stymies D'Amato's efforts for a 1-2-3 inning. 2 out single to center, and that brings up Reardon. Starting pitcher, 281 batter. A double, a triple, 8 runs batted in. That's the second hit of the game, 4th base runner already for St. Francis. D'Amato forced to pitch from the stretch with 2 outs, and his first offering to John Reardon is taken high for ball 1. St. Francis has an 8-3 record at home this season. Pretty impressive considering it's hard to figure exactly where home is sometimes. Strike called. It's 1-1. Route 66 Stadium in downtown Joliet is their official home, but it's been under construction this entire spring and has not yet been ready to host any baseball. Strike over the inside corner, 1-2. So they played quite a few games at Joliet Junior College and played a fair number of them here at Standard Bank Stadium, which is typically the home of Roosevelt University, but this season has hosted double duty. 1-2. Downstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes. But regardless of where they've played, the Saints have had the home field advantage, trying to improve to 9-3 today. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1 on in the second inning. And Reardon takes a ball outside. Count goes full. Peterson will be off and running with this pitch. Reardon trying to reach base to bring Travis Schoonover to the plate. D'Amato looks over his left shoulder at first base. Now the payoff. Ball 4. Third walk already issued in today's game by Logan D'Amato. Peterson advances to second base. Back-to-back 2-out base runners, and the Saints have a chance for a little 2-out rally here. Single, a walk, and here's Schoonover. Schoonover 1 for 1 with a single. Solid line drive to right center field to begin the bottom of the first inning. Hardest hit ball we've seen so far. Pickoff throw to second base. Peterson dives in ahead of the tag. John Peterson not likely to be going anywhere from second base. But St. Xavier trying to catch him off guard, bringing the shortstop in behind him. Guerrero creeping in behind again. No throw this time, and a wild pitch. The runners advance. 2 men in scoring position. That ball bounced in behind Travis Schoonover. Bonetta tried to make the backhanded stop on the ball. He did knock it down, keep it from getting by him, but it skips too far away to have any chance at stopping the advancing base runners. Reardon moves to second. Peterson to third on the wild pitch, and now a base hit from Schoonover could make it 2-0 St. Francis. And he's ahead in the count, and ball and no strikes. Next pitch is foul tipped. Count is even at 1. Second straight inning, the Saints have gotten somebody to second base. Or third base, actually. Second straight inning, they've gotten somebody at second, too, but third is probably more important in this case. They loaded the bags with only 1 out in the first inning before a double play knocked them out. This time they didn't start the rally until there were 2 outs. 1-1 on Schoonover. Ball high, 2-1. Travis Schoonover has 30 runs batted in this year. Runners will be going on contact, so a base hit could give him 2 more. Likely would. D'Amato shakes off Bonetta, and now he's ready for the 2-1 offering. Ball up and away. And D'Amato is threatening to load the bases again. He did it in the first inning on 2 free passes. There's been a walk in this inning as well, along with a single from Peterson. 3-1 on Schoonover. Sean Harper stands on deck. Here's the pitch. Schoonover hits it in the air, foul to the left side. Out of play. Full count. It's been a lengthy inning for Logan D'Amato. Looked like it was going to be an easy one at first. He had 2 outs, including 1 on strikes and nobody on base, but a single, a walk, and now a 3-2 count on Schoonover have made things significantly more interesting. This is the 25th pitch of the frame. And here it comes. Schoonover grounds it left side, backhanded stop Guerrero in the hole, long throw to first. Not in time, it's an infield hit for Schoonover and a run scores. Saints lead 1-0. 3 straight 2-out base runners, a single, a walk, and another base hit. Wild pitch played a huge factor in the run scoring as well. Schoonover hustling down the line the whole way. Tough play for Guerrero. He went into the hole and he made the nice backhanded stop, but there was a slight hesitation as it seemed like he was struggling to get a grip on the ball. And that slight hesitation is what cost him. So now it's Sean Harper taking strike one. Reardon advanced to third on the play. Peterson, the one who came in to score. They're at the corners now with 2 down. Harper walked in the first inning. No official at-bats so far. 0-1 is the count on him here. Another wild pitch. Reardon is going across the plate easily. And it's 2-0 St. Francis. Second wild pitch of the inning to go along with 1 walk from Logan D'Amato. His control problems have hurt him in a big way in this second inning, and in the first really too. He walked 2 batters in the first inning, although nothing came of it thanks to the double play. It's 1-1 on Harper, and D'Amato will get a visit on the mound. Bullpen starts going for St. Xavier. Kyle Saby is starting to throw. D'Amato has not been hit hard. He just can't get the ball in the strike zone. And he's walking off the mound. I think he might be hurt. And they are now calling in the trainer from the St. Francis dugout. So we're going to have a pitching change here. D'Amato clutching his right arm. So that's not a good sign for St. Xavier or for Logan D'Amato, and hopefully he's all right. He was wild today, not effective early on, and he departs with an apparent injury. So hopefully D'Amato's okay, but we won't find out right away because he is done for the game. Pitching change for St. Xavier, and because it is an injury change, Saby will have as much time as he needs to warm up. So I'll step aside for a few minutes. I'll come back with the conclusion of the bottom of the second inning. 2 runs are already in for St. Francis, and they've got another man on base, a 1-1 count on Sean Harper after the break. Kyle Saby is the new pitcher for St. Xavier, senior left-hander. He's on for the 12th time, all in relief this year. 0-1 with a 9.39 ERA. In 15 1/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 25 runs, 16 of them earned on 26 hits. He's got 10 strikeouts, 9 walks. Bonus batting .400 off of Saby this year. He relieves Logan D'Amato, who left with an injury. After a tough inning and 2/3, he threw 44 total pitches. 25 of them were balls, only 19 strikes. He allowed 3 hits, all of them singles. He also walked 3 batters. And the man at second base is his responsibility. 2 runs allowed so far. Strike 2 called on Sean Harper. Remember when D'Amato left with that injury, he already had a 1-1 count on Harper. The first pitch was a strike. The second one was a wild pitch, which allowed a run to score. Also allowed Schoonover to advance to second base. That's where he is right now with a 1-2 count on Harper. Saby, the left-hander, sets, trying to put away Harper and the Saints in the second inning, but he misses low. Ball 2. That pitch was in the dirt, but a nice block by Matt Bonetta prevented Travis Schoonover from advancing. 2-0 St. Francis, bottom of the second inning. Slow start to this game with both pitchers early on struggling to throw strikes. D'Amato in particular. Reardon straightened things out in the second inning for St. Francis. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner at second. Ball in the dirt, and it gets away from Bonetta. Schoonover heads for third. The throw, not in time. Very close play at third base. Because the ball rolled up the third base line after Bonetta had blocked it, he actually didn't have a long throw to third base. It was only about a 75-foot throw. And Schoonover, who got a good jump there, just barely was able to slide in front of the tag. So that's the third wild pitch of the inning, and now it's a 3-2 count on Sean Harper. Payoff pitch, outside ball 4. New pitcher, same results. That's the 4th walk we've seen in the first 2 innings of this game. And we've seen 3 wild pitches as well, all of them this inning, 2 from the starter and 1 from the reliever. 2 runs are in the second for St. Francis. They've got him at the corners with 2 outs for Pat Mahalik. Mahalik 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning. 1 of 2 strikeouts recorded by Logan D'Amato in his inning and 2/3. Got a chance to break the game open a little bit early on here. Mahalik takes strike 1. Lefty versus lefty matchup here. Saby gets the sign and sets. Ball in the dirt, good block by Bonetta, but Harper moves up to second base. Another wild pitch. The count is 1-1. That's the 4th wild pitch we've seen this inning. But credit to Bonetta there. He did allow the 1 runner to advance. I shouldn't say he allowed it. It was a wild pitch, not a passed ball, but he was not able to throw down to second base to retire Harper, but in keeping the ball in front of him, he at least prevented Schoonover from scoring from third. What that wild pitch does do, though, is put 2 men in scoring position so that now a base hit from Mahalik would likely double the St. Francis lead. Ball outside. The count now 2-1 on Pat Mahalik. Senior outfielder out of Lincoln Way Central High School. He's ahead in the count here, 2 balls and a strike. He's able to lay off the next pitch, misses high. 3-1 the count. So like I said, Saby's kind of picked up right where D'Amato left off, falling behind back-to-back hitters. Overall, you include both pitchers. This is the 4th consecutive hitter for St. Francis to have seen a 3-ball count. Remember, there were 2 outs with nobody on base at one point this inning. 3-1 to Mahalik. High in the zone for strike 2. Just above the belt there. Mahalik took it to load the count. 4th straight batter, in fact, to have seen a full count. It's been a long inning. The 32nd pitch overall, and it's another walk. Ball 4 low. Bases are full. There have been 2 hits this inning, including an infield single for Travis Schoonover. There have been 3 walks and 4 wild pitches. Kevin Mampy is the 8th hitter of the inning, and he bats with the bases full. It's the 2nd straight inning that the Saints have loaded the bases. Last inning they did it with 1 out and were unable to score. This time they're loaded with 2 outs, and Kevin Mampy at the plate. He walked on 4 pitches his first time up. Mampy takes strike 1 over the inside edge. Big first pitch strike there for Saby. He got ahead of Pat Mahalik 0-1 as well before missing on the next 3 pitches. He's got to stay in or at least around the zone against Mampy. And a huge at bat here as the Saints try to blow the game open in the second inning. Mampy takes up and away, 1-1. Obviously a long way to go in this game for St. Xavier, and they will have plenty of opportunities to try to break through against John Reardon. But a 3, 4, 5 run deficit, as the case may be at the end of this inning, really puts you in a tough spot trying to come from behind. 2 runs are a lot more playable. So the Saints are trying to put St. Xavier in that tough spot. And they're close to doing so. Ball high, 2-1. Kyle Saby has just not been around the strike zone. starting pitcher D'Amato threw 25 of his 44 pitches for balls. Xavier has come in and pretty much the same ratio, 9 balls, 4 strikes. And there's a big strike. 2-2 on Kevin Mampy. So the Saints are down to their final strike of the inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 3 on base. This is the 5th consecutive batter to have seen 2 strikes with 2 outs. So the Cougars have been so close to getting out of this inning. Just haven't been able to make that one good pitch when they've needed to. Does Saby have it in him right now on a 2-2 count on Kevin Mampy? We'll find out in a few moments because Mampy calls time. Saby taking a little bit too much time on the mound, and Mampy decides to step out, reestablish a rhythm here. He digs back in, and Saby gets the sign from Bonetta. Now everybody's ready to go. The 2-2. Mampy grounds it to third base. That's a foul ball. Just barely foul. Looked like the last time it hit the ground, it was in fair territory, just to the right of the line. But it kicked foul just as it was going past third base, so not by much. Foul territory by inches there. Mampy still alive. That likely would have been an inning ender with a force at every base. This will be the 6th pitch of the at-bat, another 2-2 to Kevin Mampy. Swung on and flown out to right field. Powell started in, now he goes back. He's there and he makes the grab. Second straight inning, the Saints leave the bases loaded, but this time they score 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, 4 wild pitches. We'll head to the 3rd. St. Francis 2, St. Xavier nothing. We've played 2 full innings here in Crestwood, and so far it's been all St. Francis. They've got 2 runs on the board. They've also stranded 5 men on base, so they've had an opportunity to be up by a lot more than they are right now. But for the moment, John Reardon pitching well. Saints happy with the lead they've got. 3 hits, 5 walks for the Saints offense in the first 2 innings. St. Xavier's got 1 hit. They've had 3 total base runners through 2, but they've left them all on. Top of the order here in the 3rd, facing Reardon. Griffin Bright starts things off, bunts back to the pitcher's mound. It'll be picked up on a hop by the catcher Rada. His throw to first is wild, and Bright heads to second base. Good start to the inning for St. Xavier, a bunt hit and an error. Not a very good bunt, to be honest, from Griffin Bright, but it worked out perfectly for him as he popped it up in between the pitcher's mound and home plate. Reardon a little bit slow to react to that one, and that left the only play for the catcher Rada. And you never want to hit the ball up in the air when you're bunting it, but he dropped it right in between the pitcher and catcher so that neither one could get to it. And he ended up catching a break with the placement of it, even though it was not initially a good bunt. Here's Garrett Bright in the dirt, ball 1. So it's an infield single for Griffin Bright on the bunt, and then the throwing error on Rada advances him to second base. So he's in scoring position with nobody out. One hopper back to the pitcher. Nice play by Reardon, who looks the runner back to second and throws to first for the out. Very nicely done by John Reardon. Griffin Bright took a hard lead off of second base there and dove back to the bag once he realized that Reardon had that ball. If it had gotten by the pitcher, it probably would have been playable for the shortstop Kevin Mampy and still likely would have resulted in an out at first base, but there would be a runner at third right now. Reardon, of course, an infielder on the day he doesn't pitch, so he's very well accustomed to fielding grounders and made a nice play right there. Matt Monahan takes ball one downstairs to begin his at-bat. 1-0. Monahan walked in the first inning, was stranded at first base. 2-0 St. Francis. They got 5 consecutive two-out base runners in the bottom of the second inning to build the lead. There's a fly ball out to left field down the line. Long run towards foul territory for Harper, and he will end up pulling up as that ball sails out of play. 1-1 on Monahan. 330 feet down the lines here at Standard Bank Stadium. It's 390 feet to straightaway center field. Here comes the 1-1. Fouled away. Count is 1-2. Never a very offensive park, this one. Ball does not typically carry all that well. And not helped out in any way today by the weather because the wind is blowing gently but straight in. Ball up and away. 2-2. 1 out, 1 on. St. Xavier looking for their first run of the game. A bunt single and an error, but the leadoff man this inning at second base. 2-2 to the left-handed hitting third baseman. Monahan smacks it down the left field line and off the facing of the upper deck in foul territory. Still 2-2. St. Francis has a right-hander throwing down in the bullpen right now. 2-2 to Monahan. Fouled back. Stays alive. The righty throwing in the pen right now for the Saints is number 21, Aaron Mahalik, freshman pitcher. Ball high, 3-2. I'm not sure if they're just giving him an in-game bullpen session right now, if he is actually preparing to come into the game. John Reardon has pitched well so far, so you wouldn't expect him to have a short outing out there as long as he continues like this. Payoff pitch is floated out to center field. It's shallow. Mahalik coming in. Kevin Mampy drifts back. Shortstop Mampy makes the catch. 2 outs in the inning. Griffin Bright led things off by reaching second base, but he's still at second with 2 down now. Neither of the last 2 hitters have been able to advance him for St. Xavier, but now the biggest test for John Reardon, Jack Gaynor. Gaynor came up with 2 on and 1 out in the first inning, and he struck out looking. A pitch that had him shaking his head all the way back to the dugout. Didn't like the call, but he'll get another chance right here to redeem himself. Ball 1 high. Gaynor a .389 hitter for the season. One and 0. Chopped foul down the first base line. 1-1. Reardon looking for that shutdown inning. After your team is able to put up a crooked number, you always love to see your pitcher come out and put a 0 on the scoreboard the next time out. And he's 1 out away from doing just that. A ball and a strike on Jack Gaynor. Gaynor hits it in the air, shallow left center. Mampy again will have a chance. The shortstop backs onto the outfield grass and makes another catch. It's the 5th pop-up to an infielder in today's first 3 innings. A hit and an error starts the inning off, but Reardon's able to pitch around it, and St. Xavier leaves a man at second. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. 2-0 Saints. We're in the bottom of the third inning. St. Francis has had some good success on offense so far. In the first 2 innings, they've had a grand total of 8 base runners. Just 2 runs to show for it, though, so they'd like to put a few more on the board here against Kyle Xavier, who was on for his first full inning of work after he got the final out in the second. Anthony Farron, Michael Quirum, Kevin Rada, the scheduled Fighting Saints hitters. And the first pitch to Farron is taken for ball 1 high. Farron is 0 for 1. He grounded into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play after he came up with the bases loaded in the first inning. Fouled off to the right side. 1-1 the count. St. Francis has just 2 more scheduled home dates after today. Which home field specifically they're going to play those games in, still TBA. 2 games in a doubleheader next Saturday, and then the finale would be against St. Ambrose on Tuesday, May 1st. Ball in the dirt. The count is 2-1. And it's on to the conference tournament. Starting a week from Friday. We're 12 days away from the start of playoff baseball. It's going to be that exciting time of year, and both of these teams know they are very much alive for that tournament championship. Farron takes up and away, 3-1. CCAC has been all over the map this spring. Judson entered play today with an 18-4 conference record. Best among any teams, but behind them, it's a big cluster. Farron swings on 3-1 and lifts it in his shallow center. Dre Devereaux tracks it in, and Devereaux makes the catch. 1 away. Leadoff batter retired for the 2nd consecutive inning. And here's Mike Quirum. Quirum, in fact, was that leadoff batter last inning. Started off the second by flying to center field on a 3-1 pitch. Just like Farron this inning. Quirum is 0 for 1. Looking to start a little 1-out rally here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Remember, all of the Saints' damage in the 2nd inning was done with 2 outs. Ball low, 1-0. You always like to get the leadoff man on base. It's usually the sign of success in an inning when you can get that going consistently, but it certainly is not a necessity. Get 3 outs for a reason. Strike called, 1-1. One out, nobody on. The 1-1 pitch from Xavier to Quirum. Downstairs for a ball. It's 2-1. St. Francis has had an up and down conference season, more up than down, with a 13-10 record. They really have not gotten in any kind of groove in either direction. Strike call, 2-2. It just seems like they consistently alternate wins and losses. Maybe you get 2 wins in a row sometimes, but they have not had any long winning streaks. They have not had any long losing streaks. There's a fly ball out to shallow right field. Cameron Powell steps in and puts it away. 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That brings up Kevin Rada. Rada is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. One of 2 strikeouts for the starter Logan D'Amato, who was ineffective early and then left the game in the 2nd inning with an apparent arm injury. It's been Xavier ever since. And Xavier finds the bottom of the strike zone on the first pitch to Rada, 0-1. Lefty versus righty, the next pitch on its way. Chopper, third base side. That ball will kick foul. It's 0-2. I think that one may have taken its initial bounce off the plate. Chopped high into the air by Kevin Rada. Did bounce wide of the line at third, and so he stands back in with an 0-2 count. These have been rare against St. Xavier pitchers today. Both guys out there have had a really hard time getting ahead of hitters. But now 0-2 on Rada, and Xavier looking for his first strikeout. Delivers the next pitch. Tapped foul, still 0-2. If Rada does reach, it'll be John Peterson, the man who started that rally in the second inning. Saby steps up onto the mound. He's got the sign from Bonetta. Here's the 0-2. Grounded on the infield to the shortstop. Guerrero charges, gloves on the move. He throws to first base in time to retire the side. 1-2-3. The first 1-2-3 inning of the game for either team. Nice work by Saby. Led to the fourth. 2-0 St. Francis. Three innings in the books here in Crestwood, and so far it's St. Francis on top of conference rival St. Xavier 2-0. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Cougars this inning. Bunetta, Zordani, and Powell. The catcher leads things off. Matt Bunetta 0 for 1. He struck out swinging to end the first inning with 2 men on base. John Reardon has been excellent ever since. Strike one called. Reardon had some trouble in the first inning. 2 of the first 3 batters reached against him on a walk and a hit by pitch. But he has settled in very nicely since then. He's retired 8 of the 10 hitters he's faced since those first 3. Ball high, 1-1. The only 2 men to get on during that time were Cameron Powell on a bloop single in the second inning and Griffin Bright on a bunt single in the third. So there really has not been a hard hit ball against Reardon yet this afternoon, or even this morning when the majority of this game up to this point has been played. Strike call, 1-2. It is afternoon now, though, so happy afternoon to you. Happy Earth Day, April 22nd. We're celebrating Earth Day today by playing on an artificial turf field. Celebrate it any way you can. The 1-2. Grounder to second base. Peterson has it. Over to first. Bonetta's retired. 4 in a row set down now by Reardon. That's a new game high for him. And he'll face Ben Zordani with 1 out, nobody on. We've only had 1 perfect inning thrown in today's game, and that was thrown by St. Xavier's Kyle Saby after in the bottom half of the third. Other than that, there have been seemingly base runners at all times. Has not resulted in a lot of run scoring, though. Ball 1 high. Through 3 innings, St. Francis has left 5 men on base. St. Xavier has stranded 4. St. Francis actually left the bases loaded twice. One of them officially. The other time they officially only stranded 2 because there was a double play to end the inning, but the bases were loaded at the time the last batter of the inning stepped in. Strike called on Ben Zordani, 1-1. The St. Xavier first baseman popped out to the shortstop his first time up. There have already been 3 pop-outs to the shortstop hit by Cougars in this game. Fouled away, 1-2. Reardon has 2 strikeouts today. Both of them came in the first inning. Looking perhaps for number 3 right here. 1-2 on Ben Zordani. And there's a foul ball as he keeps the at-bat fighting. First inning was a laborious one for John Reardon. He threw 25 pitches. He had to deal with a couple of men on base. Pretty smooth sailing ever since. There have not been too many long at-bats for Cougars, and he's been able to retire most of them, 9 of the last 11 now. Trying to make it 10 of 12 against Zordani, but before the 1-2 pitch, he steps off the rubber. Now he's ready to go once again. Right-hander into the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Foul back. Good fight from Zordani. He's fouled off a couple with 2 strikes. Still behind in the count, though. Another 1-2. Zordani chases it in the dirt for strike 3. Rada picks it up and tosses down to first base. 2 down. Third strikeout for John Reardon. Zordani tried to hold up his swing, but clearly went around. It was called at home plate. Zordani certainly did not argue it. He immediately took off for first base. Here's Cameron Powell, 1 for 1 with a single. Ball outside, 1-0. 2 outs, nobody on base. St. Xavier just had their first 1-2-3 inning from Kyle Saby in the bottom of the 3rd. Can Reardon pull off his first perfect frame? Line it to short, he cannot, as it's over the head of Kevin Mampy. That ball splits the gap, sliding stop out in left center field by Harper. But as he gets that ball into the infield, Cameron Powell already sliding into second with a 2-out double. First extra base hit of the game for either team. And that was a rope off the bat of Cameron Powell. He's now 2 for 2. He's got 67% of his team's hits. So Reardon was looking for the 1-2-3 inning. Now he's just looking for a scoreless frame. Augustin Guerrero is the batter. 0 for 1. He popped out to second base his first time up. Batting now with a man in scoring position. First pitch from Reardon. Guerrero grounds it weakly to second base. Peterson up with it. Over to first. Inning over. Reardon pitches around the 2-out double. Cougars don't score. They leave Powell at second base. And we head to the bottom of the 4th. Saints 2, Cougars nothing. John Peterson leads off the bottom of the 4th inning for the Fighting Saints of St. Francis. They've got a 2-run lead on St. Xavier. Almost feels like it should be a little bit more than a 2-run lead, but they really haven't had to sweat too much in the early going. I'd like to have a score to match that feeling, as Peterson, Reardon, and Schoonover are coming up this inning against Kyle Saby. Saby's retired the last 4. Fires strike 1 on Peterson. Saby came in with a runner on second base and 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Logan D'Amato left with an injury. First 2 batters that Saby faced, he walked. Swing and a miss. Peterson couldn't lay off. The count is 0-2. Peterson, by the way, 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. He's the guy who started that 2-run rally in the 2nd inning with 2 outs. His single started it, and then the next 4 men all reached base successfully as well. Fouled back, still 0-2. Xavier came in with a 1-1 count on Sean Harper, so the walk was given to him because he threw 3 of the 4 balls. He then walked Pat Mahalik, but he was able to pitch out of it. Came in with a runner on base, so his 2 walks loaded him up. Got Mampy to fly out and hasn't allowed a base runner since. Went 1-2-3 in the 3rd. Now 0-2 on John Peterson. Ball high. Count is 1-2. Peterson, the number 8 hitter in Brian Mahalik's lineup today. Facing Xavier for the first time. Chopper down the 3rd baseline, foul. It's still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kyle Sabey getting a chance today that he wasn't necessarily expecting. 6 foot 1 inch tall, 210-pound lefty. He's a senior. He's not one of the more frequently used St. Xavier pitchers as Peterson grounds it up over the middle and out to center field, a base hit. Over the pitcher's mound, over second base, and out to center in a perfect spot on the infield for John Peterson. Thousand Hopper out to center. He's 2 for 2. He's got half his team's hits. Here's John Reardon. You consider Kevin Mampy in game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader. Michael Queerum in game 2. Saints have had a good tradition in this series of pitchers hitting. Both of those guys had multiple hits in the games that they started on the mound. Reardon in his first at bat drew a walk. He later came in to score. This time he's looking to sacrifice himself, but he takes ball 1. Reardon is a .281 hitter for the season. He's got 2 sacrifice bunts. Trying for number 3. (1-0). He pulls the bat back again and takes the ball up and away. It's 2-0. Peterson takes his lead from first base. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Bunted first base side. Tough play for the pitcher. Sabey gloves it, flips it to first just in time. A half step ahead of Reardon. No time to transfer to the throwing hand. So Sabey flipped it with his glove over to first baseman Ben Zordani. He got the out. It is a successful sacrifice for Reardon, but for a moment there, looked like it was also going to be a hit. 3rd sacrifice bunt of the season for the St. Francis pitcher. Back to the top of the order, Travis Schoonover. He's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, one of them on the infield, and an RBI. His RBI infield single in the 2nd kept the inning alive and gave the Saints their first run. Ball 1, low and away on Schoonover. Sabey entered play today with a .939 ERA. It's gone down somewhat so far. He has not allowed any runs in his inning and 2/3 of work. 1-0. Schoonover takes a strike. He's brought in to a long relief role today. Cougars have a couple of excellent pitchers at the top of their rotation. We saw one of them yesterday with Jared Jones. Through 10+ innings and ended up taking the loss against St. Xavier, or against St. Francis for St. Xavier. Line to short and a diving grab made by Guerrero. 2 down. Great play by Guerrero, robbing Schoonover of what looked like a base hit. Good base running there by John Peterson. The ball hit behind him on a sharp line. Looked like it was going to get through for a hit off the bat, but Peterson, instead of taking off, correctly recognized that Guerrero had a chance to make the catch, and as he dove and made the play, he retreated, Peterson that is, retreated to second base. No chance to double him up. So 2 down now, a man in scoring position for Sean Harper. Harper's been on base twice without swinging the bat. 2 walks. Swings to the first pitch here and chops it to short. Picked up by Guerrero. He crow hops and throws over to first in time. Inning over. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left at second base. We're going to the 5th inning. St. Francis 2, St. Xavier nothing. 9-1-2 up for St. Xavier in the fifth. Dre Devereaux set to lead things off against John Reardon. Reardon's been sharp early on. Still doesn't have a 1-2-3 inning, but hasn't allowed more than one base runner since the first. Ball one outside on Devereaux. He's 0 for 1. Popped out to third base to end the second inning, his first time up. Devereaux takes a strike over the outside corner from Reardon, 1-1. John Reardon has 3 strikeouts so far today, including 2 big ones back in the first inning with 2 men on base. 1-1 the count. There's a swing and a sharp liner out to center field. Mahalik racing on, dives. He came up with it. Was it a catch or a trap? I think he caught it. What a catch by Pat Mahalik. Came racing in from center field on a sinking line drive from Dre Devereaux. Laid out for it and could clearly see right away the ball ended up in his glove. He had the glove turned downwards. And I couldn't tell from up here whether he had caught it on the fly or not, but the umpire's right on top of it. Both men agreed. He did indeed make the play on the fly. Great grab on the dive from Pat Mahalik out in center field. Leadoff man retired. Here's Griffin Bright taking ball one outside. Bright is 1 for 2. Dropped down a bunt single his last time up. He's also grounded out to short. 1-0 from Reardon. Downstairs for a ball. 2-0. John Reardon has been the 3rd best pitcher on the Saints this year by ERA at 4.72. Only Michael Quirum and Angel Sandoval have been any better. Ball high, count 3-0. Sandoval in significantly fewer innings. He's thrown 48 1/3. Reardon, including today, is at 65 1/3 innings, which is now a team high. Ball 4 inside. It's 4-pitch walk. Second walk issued by Reardon today, but the first since the first inning. He really has had excellent control. He walked a batter and hit a batter in the first inning. After that, over the next nearly 4 frames, he only went as far as 3 balls on 1 hitter. But now, out of the blue, runs into some control problems against Griffin Bright, a 4-pitch walk. And here's Garrett Bright. Garrett Bright takes the first pitch for a strike. 1 out, 1 on. Saints have out-hit St. Xavier 4-3. All 4 hits for St. Francis have been singles. St. Xavier's got 2 base hits and 1 double. Ball low and away, 1-1. Quirum and Kevin Mampy were the starting pitchers in yesterday's doubleheader for St. Francis. Well, those have been the top 3 starters. Quirum, Mampy, and Reardon. Mampy's not been quite as effective as he was last year, but still a good, effective innings eater who's capable of throwing a gem on any given day. There's a hit and run. Ball tapped back to the pitcher, Reardon. Strong throw to first in time for the out. Bright advances to second. Griffin Bright, that is. Garrett Bright is retired 1-3. Man in scoring position now. 2 down for Matt Monahan. This is the 4th time in 5 innings that the Cougars have had a man in scoring position, but they have not yet had anybody reach third base. So a lot of them get to second, very few move that next 90 feet. Matt Monahan takes a ball high, 1-0. Monahan walked in the first inning. He popped out to short his last time up. Getting back to those St. Francis pitchers, Michael Quirum's the guy who's really been the revelation for Brian Mahalik this year. Strike call, 1-1. Quirum was a good pitcher last year. He's been a great pitcher this year, 5-1 with a 2.27 ERA. He's walked only 7 batters in 63 1/3 innings. Fouled off to the left side, 1-2. When you have numbers like that with only 7 walks in 63 innings, 1 per 9 inning pitched, you can have days like yesterday more frequently when your starting pitcher goes 11 innings. No need to call on the bullpen. 1-2 on Monahan. 2 outs, runner at second base, 2-0. Saints lead in the top of the 5th inning. Monahan takes the ball high, 2-2. Base hit would likely cut the lead in half. For as well as Reardon has pitched today, he's one mistake away from really turning this into a ball game. There's a fly ball out to center field. Mahalik long run back, but he'll get to the spot. He's there, he's got the ball, and the inning is over. There's the inning for Mahalik, who made a great diving catch to start it off, and he makes a routine play to end the top half of the fifth. No hits, no runs, a man left on base. We've played half a ball game here in Crestwood, Illinois. St. Francis leads St. Xavier 2-0. Three, 4, and 5 due up for the Saints in the bottom of the fifth as they look to balloon their lead a little bit. They've had a tough time against Kyle Sabie, who's been excellent out of the bullpen. He's retired 7 of the last 8 batters that he's faced. Mahalik will try to change that a little bit with a base hit to start this inning. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk, so he has not had to swing the bat yet today, or has not put it in play anyway. There's a good swing and a solid liner out to right center field. Drops in for a base hit. Mahalik around first, trying for 2. The throw a little bit late. It's a double for Pat Mahalik on the first pitch at the bottom of the 5th inning. Nice swing from Mahalik. Good base running as Dre Devereaux got over quickly to cut that ball off, but on the artificial turf here, a little bit more bouncy than it would be on natural grass, and the ball took a high hop on Devereaux. He had to jump up to pull the ball down. Spun and threw it back to second base quickly, but because of that hop that he needed to catch the ball on a bounce, Mahalik was able to make it into second base just ahead of the tag. Runner in scoring position, Kevin Mampy at the plate. Mampy takes strike 1. 5th hit of the game for St. Francis, but it's the first one to go for more than one bag. Mampy is 0 for 1. He flew out to right field in the second inning. He's also got a walk on the ledger today. That ball taken for a strike. It's 0-2. Wind picking up a little bit here at Standard Bank Stadium. Blowing in, favoring the pitchers. It's a relatively cool spring day, but just based on the weather we've had in the Chicago area this year, it seems very warm. Temperature right around 60 degrees. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Mampy goes down on 3 pitches, and Sabie has his first strikeout of the game, a big one, leaving the man at second base for the time being. Here's Anthony Farron, 0 for 2 with a fly out and a double play. Farron with a man at second base and 1 down. Looking to add to his RBI total. It's at 31 right now. He swings at the first pitch and flies it to right field, right at Powell. He makes the grab. Tagging from second, going to third is Mahalik, but there are 2 outs now. Nice recovery so far this inning from Sabie. Gave up a double on the first pitch, but now just 4 pitches later, he's got 2 outs, including a strikeout. So it's up to Michael Queerum, the hero of yesterday's game, game 2. we have a little heroism here in the 5th inning today. Trying to get this run in from third base with 2 down. Quirum's flown out twice. Once to center, once to right. Ball 1, low and in. Ground ball to second base. Picked up cleanly by Garrett Bright. His throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. Good work again by Kyle Saby. He pitches around a leadoff double. And in fact, on just 6 more pitches, he's able to get out of the inning. Threw 7 pitches total in the inning as the Saints leave a man at third base. We go to the 6th. 2-0. St. Francis still clutching that lead. Two to nothing, St. Francis in the top of the 6th inning. Jack Gaynor leads things off. Takes the first pitch outside from John Reardon. 80th pitch of the game from Reardon, who's been effective through 5 innings. Still does not have a 1-2-3 frame, but has never allowed more than 1 hit in any inning. Has only given up 3 total through 5. Strike called, 1-1. He has not given up any hits with runners on base. That's been the biggest key. 1-1 on Gaynor. He'll be followed by Bonetta and Zordani. There's a called strike. It's 1-2. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Cougars. 2-5-1 for the Saints. Just below the knees, 2-2. Tough take for Gaynor there, who did strike out looking back in the 1st inning. Popped out to the shortstop in the 3rd. Ball outside, 3-2. Reardon has walked 2 batters today. He's hit 1. But one of those 2 walks and the hit batter came in the 1st inning. So he's been pretty sharp with his command ever since. Payoff pitch to Gaynor. Just high for ball 4. 3 straight balls after a 1-2 count. And all 3 of them were close. Tough takes for Gaynor, but he gets all 3 calls and heads down to first base. The leadoff man reaches for the first time since the 3rd inning and just the 2nd time of the game. Tying run steps into the batter's box. Matt Bonetta, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a groundout. Fly ball down the right field line, foul into the seats. There's strike 1 on Bonetta. A lot of zeros on the scoreboard right now. The only inning in which either team scored was the bottom of the 2nd. St. Francis had 2 outs, nobody on, and they had 5 straight base runners, resulting in 2 runs. Tipped foul, 0-2. Scored their runs on an RBI infield single for Travis Schoonover, and then a wild pitch. So They haven't exactly torn the cover off the ball today against the combination of Logan D'Amato and especially Kyle Saby. Took advantage of a little opportunity they had in the second inning. And that's been enough so far, but a long way to go in this game as St. Xavier tries to cut back into the lead. Popped up, foul ground behind home plate. Kevin Rada back to the screen. Rada has room and makes the play. Right up against the netting behind home plate. One more foot and that's out of play. As it is, it's a foul out. Bonetta is retired for the third time today, and there's one down in the sixth. That brings up Ben Zordani. Zordani is 0 for 2. He's popped out to short. He has struck out swinging. Ball one high on the fastball. Gainer at first base after the leadoff walk. Third walk issued by Reardon today. First time that anybody in the middle of this batting order has gotten on. 4, 5, and 6 hitters have gone a combined 0 for 7. That includes Zordani. Popped foul and out of play. Tough to score too many runs when your middle of the order is putting up those kind of numbers. John Reardon has really done a nice job with these guys. Gainer, Bonetta, Zordani, guys who are pretty big hitters for St. Xavier. Strike called. It's 1-2. Everybody 1 through 4 has now reached base at least once in the game, though. Cameron Powell has been far and away the best hitter for St. Xavier. He's 2 for 2. He's on deck. Fly ball out to right field. Taking a few steps back and towards the line, Travis Schoonover makes the catch, 2 away. Gainer remains at first base with 2 down, and now Reardon will have to deal with Cameron Powell. One man he has not been able to retire today. Powell is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. Keep in mind that St. Xavier only has 1 hit aside from the 2 from Powell, and that was a bunt single for Griffin Bright back in the third. So Powell's the only player on the team to come up with a hit to the outfield today. He takes ball 1 downstairs to start this at bat. Gainer drew the leadoff walk. Bonetta popped out to the catcher. Zordani flew to right. 2 outs, a man on first. 2-0. St. Francis leads in the sixth. 1-0 pitch. Hard liner out to left field. Powell's 3 for 3. That ball skipped down the infield dirt, right in between the third baseman Quirum and the shortstop Mampy. No chance for either man to get to that ball. Gainer advances to second base on the play. 2 on, 2 out for Guerrero. This is the first time since the first inning in which the Cougars have been able to put multiple men on base. Augustin Guerrero is 0 for 2. He's popped out to second base and he's grounded out to second base. He's played pepper with John Peterson today. Strike 1 called. The 0-1. Over the inside third of the plate, 0-2. Reardon 1 strike away from getting himself out of a tough 6th inning. Tying run is on base. 2 outs and an 0-2 count on the man in the batter's box. The shortstop, Guerrero, left-handed hitter, awaits the next offering from Reardon. Guerrero foul tips it into the glove of Kevin Rada, strike 3. The inning comes to a close. 1 walk, 1 hit, but no errors and no runs score. The Cougars leave 2 on base. We're into the bottom of the 6th, 2-0, St. Francis. Bottom of the sixth inning, Saints lead by 2. Bottom of the order due up against Kyle Saby, who has been a godsend out of the bullpen for St. Xavier today. 3 1/3 scoreless innings after their starter Logan D'Amato had to be pulled in the second with an arm injury. Kevin Rada 0 for 2. He swings through the first pitch from Saby. Struck out swinging in the second, grounded out to short in the third. This is the second time he's faced Saby. The 0-1 pitch to Rada bounces in. The count evens at 1. Kevin Rada came in hitting .303 on the year, trying to keep that average over 300 with a base hit right here. Kyle Saby has retired the last 3 batters in succession, 6 of the last 7, 10 of the last 12. Ball high, 2-1. Gave up a leadoff double to Pat Mahalik in the 5th inning, but Mahalik was stranded at third. Both teams have done that once now. Gotten their leadoff man to second base, but failed to get him in. Rada grounds it foul past third base. The count evens up, 2-2. Despite giving up a hit last inning and also recording a strikeout, Saby only threw a total of 7 pitches in the 5th inning. This is about to be the 5th pitch to the first batter here in the 6th. Xavier, who had huge control problems initially after he entered the games, that ball's popped up down the first base line. Foul territory, but playable. Zordani makes the grab, 1 away. First 2 batters Xavier faced walked, and consider that coming into today he had 9 walks in 15 innings for the year. So he's not a man who tends to throw a ton of strikes comparatively. Despite all of that, he only threw 1 ball total out of his 7 pitches in the 5th inning. Hasn't walked anybody since the first 2 batters that he faced. Ball 1 high on John Peterson. The first 2 innings were a disaster from a control standpoint for St. Xavier. 2 pitchers combined on 5 walks and 4 wild pitches. None of either ever since the 2nd inning. Strike 1 called on Peterson. John Peterson has not been retired today. 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. 1 ball, 1 strike on him right now. 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning, 2-0. Grounder left side, past the diving Matt Monahan and into left field. A base hit for John Peterson. With 1 out, he's got his 3rd single of the game. Snaps a string of 4 straight, retired by Saby. Here's John Reardon. No official at-bats for the pitcher. Dropped down a sacrifice bunt his last time up. He walked and scored the game's 2nd run back in the 2nd inning. Hit and run, grounder to first base, picked up cleanly by Zordani. He looks to second but doesn't really have a play there, so he just carries it to first base. 3 unassisted. Peterson advances to second base, but 2 outs now for Travis Schoonover. Peterson at second base now has 3 hits in the game. He's 3 for 3. The rest of the team also has 3 hits. And in fact, 2 of them belong to Travis Schoonover. Stands in right now at 2 for 3. His last time up, he had a sharp liner up the middle, but was robbed by a diving Agustin Guerrero. Ball outside on Schoonover, 1-0. So 2 men, Schoonover and Peterson, the 1 and 8 hitters, respectively, have 5 of St. Francis's 6 hits. For St. Xavier, it's pretty much one guy who's done the damage. Cameron Powell's got 3 of their 4 hits. The other one's a bunt single. Fouled back behind home plate, 1-1. Sean Harper on deck. He'll bat only if Schoonover reaches base. Lefty versus lefty. Saby sets for the 1-1. Slap to the left side. That's through for a base hit. They will wave Peterson around third base. The throw comes in from Bright. Up the line a little bit. There's the tag. He's out. The throw had him beat. It was up the third base line, but Bunetto was able to track it down, dive back to home plate, and get Peterson just before he touched home. Schoonover has his third hit of the game, but he is not able to come up with an RBI as the play at the plate goes the way of the defense. We've played 6 full innings now at Standard Bank Stadium, and with 3 still to play, Saints still holding on to their early lead. It's 2-0. Two to nothing, St. Francis leads as we move into the top of the 7th inning, and Dre Devereaux, the number 9 hitter, leads things off for the Cougars of St. Xavier. John Reardon's first pitch is chopped down the third base line for strike 1, a foul ball. Devereaux's 0 for 2. He popped out to third his first time up. Then when he led off the 5th inning, hit a hard line drive to center field. Pat Mahalik came racing in and made a spectacular diving catch. This ball is hit into the air, shallow right field, sky high. Backing up is Peterson. He calls off Schoonover, who's coming in from right field. Peterson makes the catch. Pop out to second. Devereaux is 0 for 3, 1 out in the 7th inning. Here's Griffin Bright, 1 for 2 with a bunt single. He's also walked and grounded out. So he's been on base 2 of his 3 times up. Trying to get it going with 1 out here in the 7th. Strike 1 called. Ball high. 1-1 on Bright. He'll be followed by Garrett Bright. If anybody reaches, Matt Monahan will hit this inning. Strike called. He's behind in the count now, 1-2. Ball too high. Count is even. John Reardon over 100 pitches for the game now. This next one will be number 104. And it's also strike 3. Foul tipped by Bright into the glove of Kevin Rada. Bright goes down on strikes for the first time today. It is the 5th strikeout of the game for John Reardon. He's walked 3. He's given up just 4 hits. No runs. St. Xavier's had some opportunities. They've left 8 men on base. And they've had a runner in scoring position in 5 separate innings today, but only to second. They've never gotten a man to third. Ball 1 high on Garrett Bright. Meanwhile, St. Francis has also left 8 men on base. Aside from that, they've hit into a double play and had a man thrown out at home. Ball inside. 2-0 on Bright. Hitless in the game. He's hit out to the pitcher twice. 0 for 2, and his first time up he was hit by a pitch. Two 2-0. Reardon winds and fires. Fastball called strike. 2-1. Despite the elevated pitch count for John Reardon, nobody throwing in the bullpen right now. He's given no cause for concern. There's a fly ball out to right field. Should be routine for Schoonover. Towards the line, he makes the grab, and the inning is over. Wind kept pushing that ball further and further towards the line, but it stayed in fair play, and Schoonover made the play with relative ease. Time to stretch here in Crestwood as the Cougars go down in order in the 7th. First time today. Saints lead it 2-0. Sean Harper leads off the bottom of the 7th for St. Francis. Number 22 trying to add to the 2-run lead that the Saints currently possess. Facing Kyle Saby. First pitch is bounced foul by Harper to the left side. Strike one. Harper is 0 for 1 with the ground out today. He's walked twice. Saints scored 2 in the bottom of the 2nd and nothing since. They've had base runners every inning but the 3rd. It's the only 1-2-3 inning thrown by St. Xavier pitchers today. Popped up. Shallow right field. Both infielders on that side backing up. Now twirling into foul territories. Zordani falls out of the way as Garrett Bright, second baseman, makes the catch. Harper is retired for the first out of the inning. The wind was blowing straight in at the start of the game, but as I started to talk about last inning, it's really pushed from left to right now. That last fly ball hit by St. Xavier last inning carried Schoonover almost all the way into foul territory. That time, first baseman Zordani looked like he had an easy play on the ball, but the ball kept drifting and drifting and drifting, and finally Zordani tumbled out of the way and let Garrett Bright, the second baseman, take over and make the grab. Pat Mahalik trying to bunt his way on, taps it foul for strike one. Cougars were retired, 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. That was the first perfect inning of the game for John Reardon. For as well as he's pitched today, that's a little bit surprising. He's only given up 4 hits and no runs in 7 innings, but just one perfect inning. Pat Mahalik's had a nice day, trying to get on base for the 3rd time. He takes the ball inside, 1-1. Struck out back in the 1st inning, but since then a walk and a double in his 2 trips. Check swing on a ball up high. On appeal, he did not go around. 2-1. Kevin Mampy on deck. If anybody reaches, Anthony Farron will hit in this bottom of the 7th inning. Hard grounder, but right at the second baseman. Bright throws to first. 2 down. Things started to seem as though they were getting better for St. Francis offensively late in that 6th inning. 2 of their last 3 hitters came up with solid singles, but John Peterson was thrown out at the plate trying to score on a Travis Schoonover single. And now Kyle Saby seems to be back in control here in the 7th. Kevin Mampy takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Mampy is 0 for 2 officially. He has walked once. Strike one called. The count is even. Both bullpens are empty. Current pitchers for each side doing a whale of a job. John Reardon, 7 shutout innings so far. Kyle Saby has not allowed a run in his 5 innings. Strike called over the outside corner, 1-2. Both of the runs that the Saints scored were charged to the starter. Logan D'Amato went an inning and 2/3 and allowed those 2 runs on 3 hits and 3 walks. Ball outside, 2-2. Saby came in a tough spot, not knowing that he was going to work today. Had to come in off the bench cold. Got a little extra time to warm up because of the D'Amato injury. Popped up foul behind home plate and out of play. The guy comes in to a tough spot like that. Somebody who's got a 9.39 ERA to begin with. You're not necessarily expecting the world from him. But boy, has he been good. As good as the St. Xavier coaching staff could possibly ask for. Ground ball foul. Third base side. 75 pitches in the game for Kyle Saby. So you would imagine he's got something left in the tank here. He might be able to go the rest of the way unless St. Francis starts to hit him a little bit. Ground ball to the left side. Should be an easy play for Augustin Guerrero. Quick throw to first, and he gets Mampy by a step. Credit to Mampy, running hard down the line, put a little pressure on Guerrero, but the shortstop able to make the play anyway, and it is a 1-2-3 inning. Saints go down in the 7th. We've got 2 innings still to play, and our score is St. Francis 2, St. Xavier nothing. John Reardon 6 outs away from his first shutout victory of the season, but he's going to have to get through a tough part of the lineup here in the 8th. Matt Monahan, Jack Gaynor, Matt Bonetta. Monahan swings the first pitch, drives it out to right field. Schoonover back on the run, makes the catch. First pitch of the inning, Monahan is retired. Ball was hit hard, but Schoonover was on it the entire way and had no problem bringing that ball in. 5 straight set down by John Reardon. That's a game high for him. And he'll face Jack Gaynor with 1 out and nobody on base. Gaynor is 0 for 2. He walked his last time up. Left-handed slugging DH. Takes the ball outside, 1-0. Gaynor is just a freshman from Oak Lawn, right down the street from here. Ball inside, 2-0. Actually, this is a home game for St. Francis, but it's a lot more convenient for St. Xavier, just about 15 minutes away from campus. A little bit more than a 30-minute ride from the University of St. Francis to get here. Liner up the middle, a base hit for Gaynor. First hit of the game for Gaynor, .389 hitter on the season. Tough to keep him down for a whole game. Tying run will come to the plate once again. Here in the 8th inning for the Cougars, it'll be Matt Bonetta. It's the first hit for any St. Xavier hitter between numbers 2 and 6 in the batting order. In fact, it's only their 5th hit of the game. 3 of them are off the bat of one man, Cameron Powell. Pinch runner at first base for St. Xavier. It is Drew Hunniford, freshman outfielder out of Providence Catholic High School. Hunniford is at first base, replacing Gaynor. 1 out, and the batter is Bonetta. B-U-N-E-T-T-A. Matt Bonetta, the catcher, is 0 for 3. He has struck out, popped out, and grounded out, not yet hit it out of the infield. Ball 1 downstairs. This hasn't been the most convenient home field for St. Francis. Like I said, it's a bit of a drive. Playing a team like St. Xavier today, it's a little bit weird because the road team is coming from a place much closer than the home team is. It was a little weird last week as well, as that ball is flown out to right field, down the line, Schoonover over into foul territory, makes the catch. 2 outs in the inning as Bonetta is retired. Last week, and actually as recently as a couple of days ago when they finally finished that 3-game series, after it was rained out or colded out, snowed out as the case may be, first couple of times around, Saints finally finished a 3-game set with Roosevelt. technically only one of those was a road game. 2 of them were home games. All 3 were played here. This is Roosevelt's home field. But it is the part-time home of St. Francis this year. Ball 1 low and away, and that's because, well, number 1 for St. Francis is because their home field is still under construction, but also because the artificial turf here just allows you to get a lot more games in, even in bad weather. Ball low. It's 2-0 on Ben Zordani. Zordani is 0 for 3. You don't want to let this guy on base because the man on deck has been the hottest hitter of the game for either side. Cameron Powell waiting to hit next, and if he comes up, it'll be with the tying run on base. Strike 1 called on Zordani. Ben Zordani this season hitting .299 coming in. A home run here would tie the score. He does not have any homers yet this season, though. Fouled away, 2-2. And as we've seen repeatedly today on fly balls, not really carrying much in this game. So if St. Xavier wants to come back and tie this game and eventually take the lead, they are most likely going to have to play a little small ball to get these runs on the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. A man at first. Next pitch is swung on and flown out to deep right field. Schoonover backs up. He's there. He's got it. And the inning is over. 3 putouts in the inning for Travis Schoonover. St. Xavier gets a 1-out single from Jack Gaynor, but they leave the runner at first base. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th. Saints looking for a little insurance. Up 2-0. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and St. Francis has a 2-0 lead. Anthony Farron, Michael Queerum, Kevin Rada will try to extend that lead. Been an interesting game. Got off to a very slow start. Pitchers for both sides really struggling with control. We saw a combined total of 7 walks plus hit batters in the first 2 innings. But since then, both John Reardon of St. Francis and Kyle Saby of St. Xavier have really straightened things out. Game's been flying along these last 5 innings or so. Saints are looking to slow it down a little bit once again right here, though, by putting some traffic on the base paths. They went down in order in the 7th inning. Anthony Farron looking for his first of the game. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of flyouts. Grounded into a double play back in the 1st inning. Ball 1 on Farron. We're underway in the 8th. St. Francis looking for their 14th conference win of the season, their 20th win overall. Ball downstairs, 2-0. A win in this game for the Saints would tie them with St. Xavier in the conference standings, but they would be technically ahead because of the tiebreaker of winning 2 of 3 in the series. Farron grounds it weakly to the left side. Diving stop by the third baseman Monahan. To his feet, he throws to first just in time. Heck of a play by Monahan there, diving in front of the shortstop Guerrero. Getting up, spinning, and setting his feet before throwing a little bit high to first base, but Zordani was able to pull it down. 1 away Initially, I thought that was going to be Guerrero's ball, and I thought actually Guerrero had an easier play on it than the third baseman Monahan, but Monahan made it, and he made it well, so no complaints from anybody on the St. Xavier side. Ball went outside on Quirum. Michael Quirum is 0 for 3 with 2 flyouts and a groundout. Chopper foul. It hit off his foot in the batter's box, so it's a dead ball right there. 1-1. Cougars in the 9th inning will have Powell, Guerrero, and Devereaux, their 7, 8, and 9 batters, due up against John Reardon, who's pitched 8 shutout innings so far. Saints do not have anybody warming up in the bullpen. Ground ball up the middle. It's going to be a tough play for Bright. Second baseman dives behind the bag, throws from his knees, and has no chance to get Quirum at first base. Infield single for Michael Quirum, his first hit of the game, 8th hit of the game for the Fighting Saints. And there's a man on with 1 down. Great effort there by Bright. Infield defense for St. Xavier has been very good in this game. You have a slower runner. Maybe Bright's got a chance to get the out there, but Quirum runs well enough. There was really no chance there. Here's Kevin Rada. He's 0 for 3. He has struck out, grounded out, and popped out. Check swing and a ball downstairs, 1-0. Quirum over at first base is 3 for 3 when he has attempted to steal bases this season. 1-0 is smacked to the left side off the glove of a diving Guerrero at short. Another base hit. Cougars been diving all over the place this inning. Monahan made the diving play at third base a couple of batters ago. Now both middle infielders have made a dive, neither one of them able to actually make the play though. Back-to-back infield singles, and we may have a pitching change here. They're starting to hit Saby a little bit harder as he nears the 100 pitch mark for the game. He's been out there ever since there were 2 outs in the 2nd inning. And he's done yeoman's work, but still trailing 2-0 and struggling a little bit here in this inning. They'll stick with him for now. There's a right-hander warming up down the left field line, though, in the St. Xavier bullpen. Eric Papierski is warming up. John Peterson 3 for 3 in the game, and a chance to give the Saints a little cushion here. They haven't scored since their 2 runs with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. A rally that began with a single from John Peterson. With 2 outs and nobody on, Peterson singled to keep the inning alive. The next 4 men after him all reached as well, as the Saints scored twice, and that's the only offense we've had in today's game. Here Peterson takes a strike high in the zone. It's 0-1. Quirum's at second. Rada is at first. Actually, rather than Rada, there's a pinch runner at first, courtesy runner. Rada will come back in to catch next inning, but back-to-back infield singles in front of Peterson, who takes the ball downstairs. Count is 1-1. Runner at first base is actually Noah Carrero. One and one. Breaking ball high and outside. 2-1 on Peterson. If he reaches base here, we may see the Cougars go to the bullpen. Man is warming up. Papierski has only appeared in 1 game this year. They're trying to stick with Saby here. Peterson swings and foul tips it 2-2. I want to make sure Saby is capable, though, of getting the team out of the inning. 90 pitches in the game now. Thrown by the reliever, Kyle Saby, who was not expecting to go today, and he's gone nearly 100 pitches now. Ground ball to the right side, ranging to his left. Bright gloves it, throws to second, and gets the force there. They throw back to first, not nearly in enough time to double up Peterson, who reaches on the 4-6 fielder's choice. Quirum advances to third base on the play as the inning goes on. Nice job by Bright just to get the runner at second. He had to move so far to his left on that ball, I thought maybe his only play would be at first. But he does get a better out, forcing the runner out at second, though Quirum does move up to third on the play. Here's John Reardon. Pitcher trying to give himself at least one more run of support before heading back out to the mound. He's 0 for 1 with the ground out. He's also walked and scored a run and dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Swinging at the first pitch, he chops it to third. Monahan gloves it, throws across the diamond, and ends the inning. Reardon grounds out. The Saints don't score. They leave 2. 2 hits, no runs, and as we head to the 9th, Saints still lead 2-0. 3 outs away from their second straight win over St. Xavier. The top of the 9th inning. Last chance for St. Xavier to come back on the Saints here. 2-0 is our score. Cougars have their 7, 8, and 9 batters due up. Normally you'd say it's a good thing if you're a St. Francis fan facing the bottom of the order, but Cameron Powell, the number 7 hitter, is 3 for 3 today. A couple of singles and a double, and he bats first against John Reardon. First pitch, wrapped on the ground, left side, sliding stop. Kevin Mampy throws from his backside and no chance at first base. Another hit for Cameron Powell. He's 4 for 4. Rest of the team has a combined total of 2 hits. He's got 4. Great effort from Mampy, but no shot to make that play, even if he hadn't slipped at the end of it. We're going to see a couple of pinch hitters in a row, I think, here for Guerrero and Devereaux. Man strolling to the plate right now is Zach Forney, and it looks like Brian McNamara has grabbed a bat and is standing on deck. So Forney, batting for the first time today, is a .368 hitter with a homer and 16 RBIs. And he represents the tying run, replacing Guerrero, who went 0 for 3. Forney takes strike 1. Only the 7th was John Reardon perfect. Every other inning, St. Xavier has had at least 1 base runner. They've stranded 9 men through 8 innings. Strike called, 0-2 on Forney. St. Francis has left 10 men on base through their 8 innings of offense. So for as low a scoring game as this is, 2-0, it's been a good pitcher's duel, but there have been opportunities to make it a much higher scoring affair. Forney takes a big rip and fouls it straight back, still 0-2. Zach Forney is a freshman catcher. Splits time behind the plate with Matt Bunetta, who started today's game. Forney a little bit better on the offensive side. He's got a .561 on-base percentage this year. but is behind 0-2 as he slugs that one deep to left field, but foul. Still 0-2. 18 walks to go along with 21 hits. And just under 70 plate appearances. Another 0-2, up and away, ball one. Reardon has not shown any signs of fatigue here, despite a pitch count that is now over 120. One, two. High ball two. Good at bat for Forney. Fell behind very quickly, 0-2. A couple of foul balls kept the at bat alive, and now it's 2-2 as Kevin Rada heads out to talk with John Reardon. Just trying to settle him down here. He's been in this spot all night with men on base. In this case, with nobody out, there's a man on first. Still has the 2-run lead, though. Forney does have a little bit of power, so Reardon's got to be careful, but he cannot afford to walk him. 2-2 the count. Rada now back behind home plate. Popped up on the infield behind home plate. Rada tosses his mask aside. He's under it. He makes the grab. One away. There's a big first out for you right there. Very dangerous. Zach Forney is retired. And here's Dre Devereaux, or Dre Devereaux's spot in the batting order anyway. Devereaux just a 174 hitter for the season, 0 for 3 today, so no surprise we're seeing a pinch hitter here. It's Brian McNamara. McNamara 5 of 16 at the plate this year with 1 double and 4 RBIs. He takes first pitch inside for ball one. An imposing figure in the batter's box, Brian McNamara. 6 feet 4 inches tall, 230 pounds, a senior out of Morton College, transferred in last year. Ball low, 2-0. For the last 5 pitches from Reardon have missed the zone. The man on first base and 1 out, he misses high again, 3-0. There is some action now down in the St. Francis bullpen. Hunter Morawski is getting loose just in case Reardon is not able to finish this one off. The 3-0. McNamara takes a fastball in there for a strike. I want to get back to the top of the order here with 2 men on base. If Griffin Bright comes up with McNamara aboard, it would be the tying run on. Swing and a miss, can't catch up to the heat. It's 3-2. Big payoff coming up from John Reardon to Brian McNamara. 1 out, 1 on in a 2-run game in the top of the 9th inning. Reardon takes a quick look at the runner. Now the full count pitch, fouled away. No runs, 6 hits, no errors for St. Xavier. 2-9-1 for St. Francis. Both teams have left a lot of chances on base. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 down. Big strikeout for John Reardon, number 6 in the game. He is 1 out away from putting a ribbon on this thing and wrapping it up. Last chance for St. Xavier is Griffin Bright. Man at first base with 2 outs. Bright has been on twice today. A bunt, single, and a walk. Officially 1 for 3. Shows bunt here, but takes the strike. Bright trying to keep the game alive any way he can. If he reaches base, tying run would be aboard for Garrett Bright. Reardon over 130 pitches for the game now. The 0-1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. John Reardon trying to save the best for last here, blowing fastball after fastball by McNamara. And now Griffin Bright. 0-2 count, he's 1 strike away from picking up the victory. Right-hander gets the sign from Kevin Rada, checks the runner, and sets for the 0-2. Here it comes. Ball high, 1-2. Reardon trying to even up his record. He would be 4 wins to 4 losses on the season if he gets this one more out, and he's one strike away from it. Powell led off the inning with a single, but he's still stuck at first base with 2 down. Now the 1-2 pitch from Reardon to Bright. Low and away, ball 2. Powell reached on the infield single. He's 4 for 4 in the game. The only other batters with hits are Griffin Bright with the bunt single back in the 3rd inning, and Jack Gaynor, who singled in the 8th. 2-2. Foul back. Good at bat by Bright, staying alive and really making Reardon work for it here in the 9th. 20 pitches thrown this inning already by Reardon. St. Xavier has had at least 1 base runner in 8 out of 9 innings. They've never had a man reach 3rd. 2-2, flown out to shallow right. Mampy going back, coming in is Schoonover. He makes the catch, and there's your ball game. Saints win. Final score 2-0. Correction, Peterson, the second baseman, went back on that one. Didn't matter because Schoonover made the grab. And what a performance by John Reardon, who goes the distance. His first complete game shutout of the season. It's his 4th complete game overall and his 4th win of the year. Our final score, St. Francis 2, St. Xavier 0. And it didn't start off all that well for John Reardon, and it certainly did not start off looking like a pitcher's duel either. Things really turned around at about the bottom of the 2nd inning. After the Saints had scored 2 runs, Kyle Saby came in, and Saby was lights out for St. Xavier. Reardon settled in really after the 1st inning when he struggled. Take away the first 3 batters of today's game, and Reardon was absolutely magnificent, and he comes away with the big victory. Let's go back over the scoring in this game. It all occurred in 1 inning, and it all occurred with 2 outs in the 2nd. Actually, let's go back to the 1st inning. First, St. Francis had the bases loaded thanks to a single and 2 walks, only 1 out. Logan D'Amato got out of the inning with a double play, but it was a sign of things to come that he just couldn't throw strikes, as he loaded the bases again in the 2nd inning. After there were 2 outs and nobody on base, John Peterson singled. John Reardon walked, and a wild pitch put runners at 2nd and 3rd for Travis Schoonover, who just legged out an infield hit to make it 1-0 St. Francis. And then D'Amato departed because of an apparent injury. He was not able to continue. Kyle Saby came in, and he walked the first 2 batters he faced, Harper and Mahalik. He threw another wild pitch, allowing a run to score, and it was 2-0 in favor of St. Francis. They loaded the bases with 2 outs, but Kevin Mampy flew out to right field to end the threat. And Saby was rarely challenged the rest of the game. The only time the Saints looked like they were in good position to get another run was in the 6th inning, when John Peterson singled, stood at 2nd base with 2 outs for Travis Schoonover, who smacked a single out to left field. Peterson tried to score, but was thrown out at the plate by Griffin Bright. Meanwhile, St. Xavier rarely threatened in this one. In the 1st inning, because of a walk and a hit batter, they had runners at 1st and 2nd with only 1 out, but John Reardon struck out 2 in a row to end that threat. They got the leadoff man at 2nd base in the 3rd when Griffin Bright bunted a single and then reached 2nd base on an error, but he was stranded at 2nd. They got a double, one of 4 hits from Cameron Powell in the game in the 4th inning, but he was stranded at 2nd base. They never in the entire game got a man as far as 3rd base. And John Reardon, with a runner at 1st and nobody out in the 9th, the tying run coming to the plate 3 straight times, got a pop out, a strikeout, and a fly out, and wrapped it up for a fine victory. Our final totals in this game: St. Xavier, no runs, 6 hits, no errors. St. Francis, 2 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. The winning pitcher is John Reardon. Reardon went the distance. He allowed no runs on 6 hits, struck out 6, walked 3. He improves to 4-4. Losing pitcher, Logan D'Amato. D'Amato went an inning and 2/3. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. He falls to 1-3. But the pitching story in the game for St. Xavier was Kyle Saby coming out of the bullpen and going 6 1/3 shutout, allowing 6 hits, 2 walks with 1 strikeout in the game. Again, our final score: St. Francis 2, St. Xavier nothing. Saints improved to 14-10 in conference. The Cougars dropped to 14-10 in conference, and the Saints move ahead of the Cougars in the overall standings as well. 20-24 now. St. Xavier falls to 19-25. Saints are back at it on the road later this week. They're in Deerfield on Tuesday for a doubleheader against Trinity International University. They've got the annual showdown with Lewis this Thursday, and they return home next Saturday to take on Trinity Christian, a 1:00 p.m. doubleheader for that game, starting off the final 3 home games of the season. 2 next Saturday and 1 the following Tuesday. That's going to do it for this game today. Saints beat the Cougars 2-0. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.